All right. Do you want me to do the intro, or you do the intro? What do you think?
I can. What are you feeling? You feeling a little froggy? You want to do the intro today?
I mean, I was thinking you would, but
okay, yeah, I'll take care of it. I don't know. I just
yeah. I mean, I've never practiced it, so I'm like, I think it'd be awkward.
Listen, I don't mind taking care of it at all. I just want you to know you have that power too.
I appreciate that. Wait. Is this like a canon that I'm now an equal host?
Yes, it is.
To of course, the main host and the hairiest host.
Yep.
Guys, I've been promoted. You've
been promoted. Hell yeah.
It's official.
One of us. I mean, we talked about this before we started recording last week, but I mean, you've been in almost as many episodes as you were not in at this point, so
I've earned it.
You've earned it, for sure.
I've earned my stripes, as Tony the Tiger would say.
Hell yeah.
All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
Mother Goose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck, standing by.
Lock S foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Animal Squadron podcast. This is your hairiest host, Mother Goose.
And also coming to you live, your main man, Lowtech Tuck.
Hell yes. Still haven't found HouseDog. He's still floating around in the abyss somewhere.
Yeah, we saw him for a second, but I think he thought we were a TIE fighter or something because he just darted away real fast.
Just got out, yeah.
Yep.
I think sometime in the future, maybe when we do our ships episode, we need to sit down and decide officially what ship we're in.
Yeah, and what time period it is.
Yeah,
as far as the ships go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because there's so many great options.
Yo, yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I think my first volunteer as far as what we should be flying is Yaddle's dumpster.
Hell yes, just the three of us just kind of clumped in together.
Yep, and Yaddle's dumpster. Yep,
yes,
us and what's his face? Oh no, the long neck Jedi that we always joke.
Yarael Poof.
Yeah, us and Yarael Poof.
Hell yeah,
exploring the galaxy.
Us and I think we've established there's at least 2 gonk droids on the ship too.
Yep, one's gonky that I live in, and then the other one is just normal. Yep.
Yeah. Well, do you want to tell everyone what we're talking about today?
Well, so this is actually a new thing for us. We're going to be doing a character highlight as part of eventually we'll be doing more character highlights as time goes on. But this first one, we're going to be doing Plo Koon, a character highlight on my main man, my favorite Jedi for a long time.
Hell yeah. And remind me, he's been your favorite Jedi since, what was it, the episode 1 video game, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, since I was probably 5 or 6 on the PS1. And the original Plo Koon in that game, he has an orange lightsaber. And he's real pixelated and just real funky looking. He looks awful. But I've loved him ever since.
I think that's one of my least favorite changes they made within canon is that he has a blue lightsaber. That orange lightsaber just looked so good.
Oh yeah. And then also just for his personality, I'll talk about it here in a second as far as canonically why he has a blue lightsaber and why it makes sense. But he really, as far as who he is, he's a lot more of a green lightsaber consular kind of guy.
Yeah. I think so.
What are you grinning about?
I don't know. I'm just excited.
Are you getting ready one of those gifts? Are you going to send that to me?
No.
Are you sure?
I did think about it.
Are you sure?
I did think about it. So, for context, let me check the group chat. there is at least... There's at least 12 gifs of Plo Koon dying.
And if I remember, I think like 6 of them were like all one day, one time.
Yeah,
Y'all just really got after it. That was that episode where I said Plo Koon's just frolicking because you guys had got me so many times. I was like, you know what? I've got to say something. I've got to say something about my mans.
Yeah. Yeah, so Max sent, I think, 6 gifs of him dying, and then another gif of a heart opening up, like a heart necklace, and it says, Plo Koon, more like Plone dead.
Yep.
I'm so sorry.
You see how bad I get bullied, everybody? This is just, it's unacceptable. But also, I let it happen, so.
No, I don't know. I really am just happy to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited.
Well, you're kind of taking the lead. What do you want to talk about first?
So I guess first we'll talk about, and let me pull these guys up because I always get their name wrong. But so for Plo Koon, we'll just start here. Plo Koon is from Doran, and his race is called Keldor.
Keldor.
Keldor,
That's
yeah.
sick.
Keldor.
I like that.
And who they are historically on Doran is they, like, of course there's a bunch of Keldor, but they actually have a decently high percentage of them that are Force sensitive. And actually, on that note, for centuries, the Jedi always take a lot of Keldor. Like, they worked very closely with the Jedi and vice versa because the Keldor actually have their own group of they're called sages, but they're kind of like, you know, wizards or whatever, and they're Force sensitive, and they're a Force believing people. Like, that's their religion, is the Force. And they're called the Barando sages.
Cool. Would these kind of be like maybe light side Night Sisters?
Kinda, yeah. Except for, like, also not gender locked, like that there's men and women Barando sages.
Hell yeah, we're rocking with the equality.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. And also, one thing I've learned is the Barando actually, Force judgment wasn't like one of their only powers. They actually had 3 groups of them, and they were all element based. So there was like the Order of the Whirlwind, there was the Order of Lightning, or like they're called guides. It's like the Guides of Whirlwind, the Guides of Lightning, and then there's one more. Let me look that up. Oh, and the Guided Stream, so I assume water powers.
Hell yeah. So, Force judgment comes from this group, not from the Jedi.
As far as I know. And reason being, so Plo Koon originally, you know, is from Doran, Force-sensitive Keldor, but he was, like, as far as Jedi go, taken in the classic sense of he was a child, like he was little. Yeah. So he wasn't a Barando sage yet. But, like, one thing I did learn is actually he had an uncle and a niece in the Jedi Order also.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That were also Keldor and Force-sensitive Keldor.
Yeah, so how does that work? Because, I mean, the whole point of the Jedi stealing children is so they don't really grow attachment to their family. Yeah, but also when you have like also there.
Yeah, but also if you have like a Force-sensitive farm, like the like the Keldor, I mean, are you gonna say no to that? Like,
yeah,
because I mean, there really is like a pretty high percentage of their population is Force-sensitive. Like, it's pretty considerable compared to average.
Okay, so we've seen that the Empire, you know, Palpatine was a master, and he essentially just destroyed anyone that was a threat. I mean, we had a Mandalorian purge, a Jedi purge, a Night Sister purge, a Geonosian purge. They enslaved the Wookiees. They genocided the Lasats.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they do to Plo Koon's people? If they did.
I was gonna say, I don't think I saw anything. Let me go back to like some stuff I was reading.
Okay. Which, you know, I'm guessing a lot of this stuff is legends, right, and hasn't been brought to canon yet.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is it's canon, but also like, I mean, it's not canon, but also I don't really think Disney's probably going to do anything with it. So like, it's one of those things where like we've talked about before, it's kind of like a secondary canon kind of thing.
Right. As long as it doesn't contradict anything with canon, I think it's okay to fill that hole until Disney comes out with their own official canon.
Yeah. Yeah. No, as far as Legends or canon, nothing happened to them necessarily.
Gotcha.
But there are a lot of them. I mean, if you look and see the references, like this is just on the Keldor page on Wikipedia, but like as far as like appearances, it's like, the High Republic, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, Darth Maul, The Weapon, which I don't even know what that is, Age of Republic Special 1, Phantom Menace, obviously, because of Plo Koon, and then like prequel trilogy, Star Wars Journeys, I don't even know what that is, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, Queen's Hope. I mean, they're in like every single Star Wars project. There's like a whole bunch of them.
Hell apparently. Yeah. That's really cool.
So they're a really popular species, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like with the Keldor, so they have to wear masks because their home planet of Doran is actually a very oxygen-poor atmosphere. And so that's what they're used to breathing. And so planets like Coruscant or whatever with oxygen or more oxygen-rich air is actually like somewhat toxic to them. So they have to have breathers on all the time.
It's like you're a mind reader, Tuck. I literally was going to ask you about the mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But also, too, I mean, that is what Plo Koon's face looks like also. It's just he's wearing goggles and then, like, he's got two little breathers, but... Yep.
Yeah.
But back to Force Judgment, what I was going to tell you is, so, like, it's current... So, Plo Koon actually, like, obviously, he's a Jedi in the traditional sense, so he never had the chance to learn the Bar and Do way of life. But after he becomes a master in the Jedi Order, not quite High Council yet, he actually goes to Doran and practices the ways of the Barando and actually becomes one of them. And then comes back and gets a seat on the council. And actually another thing is right after, it's called the Stark Hyperspace War. It's a war like not right before the Clone Wars, but like before Phantom Menace sometime.
Yeah.
And actually, Plo Koon, Luminara Unduli, and Qui-Gon Jinn all fought together and were all like really good friends.
Hell yeah.
Isn't that kind of crazy? But then like after the war, I think it was Plo Koon was actually offered a seat on the council, but he actually says no, and he actually recommended Qui-Gon Jinn, which is also kind of interesting.
Yeah. But that's really cool.
Anyway, so just little fun facts. And
fun
please
facts
fact check me, Elijah.
Listen, you're the Plo Koon guy. You got the knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I love this guy. He's cool.
He is pretty sick.
Yeah.
So what next?
Let's see. I mean, that's pretty much catching us up to who Plo Koon is in the movies. So the blue lightsaber thing, why I think that, like, honestly, if it wasn't going to be orange, why green probably would have been more his color.
Okay.
Like, as far as temperament, he's a lot more of a consular type. Like, he's a lot more of, like, he'd love to solve problems by talking.
Yes.
And diplomacy and stuff like that. But actually, I learned that his master, whenever he was a Padawan, actually made him focus on lightsaber combat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
Because that's what his master believed in. Was just like, you can talk all you want, but you need to know how to fight, dude. So, and then he was really good at it, and he was a good pilot, and so he became what are they, Jedi Sentinels? Consuls?
I think
Consulars?
It's Guardian? I know it's not Sentinels, because
yeah.
Sentinels typically have the yellow blade.
Yeah, well then in that case it'd be, I guess, Guardian. Anyway, but... Also, like we were talking about in our top 5 favorite Jedi episode, it's kind of the opposite of Shaak Ti when you think about it. Because she's a consular with a guardian kind of lightsaber. and he's a guardian with a consular kind of personality. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of not opposite.
Yeah,
I guess it's kind of similar. It relates.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they're both pretty cool.
Oh, well, and they're also, I mean, in that episode, I talk about how they're both my top, like, they're in my top 5 all day,
Hell yeah.
every day. Yeah.
I want to talk about the Clone Wars episode where they're fighting in space, I believe.
Yep.
And the clones tell him to leave them because they're expendable, and he says, "Not to me."
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's like, and that's just who he is. Also, that reminds me. So actually, in the Stark Hyperspace War, Plo Koon says something that I thought was really, really profound. But he actually says it, I think, to Aayla Secura. But Aayla Secura is like a Padawan at this point.
At this point, gotcha.
Yeah. But he says, a Jedi does not cling to sorrow, young Padawan. We accept it. Sorrow is a part of life as well as joy. There are gifts to be found, even in death and sorrow. Strange gifts. We accept this, we learn, and we go on.
Nice. What a man.
Yeah, I mean, that just tells you right there. He's cool.
Just that kind of guy, right?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and like we were talking about, too, in our favorite Jedi episode, I mean, he's him. He's him. He is the light. He is the Jedi.
I mean, so we've established Ahsoka's my favorite Jedi, and I really like the connection between the two of them, that he was the one that brought her to the Jedi Order.
Yeah, well, and actually that's, is that actually canon?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I also found something, too, in my research. This is actually from Star Wars. StarWars.com. Like, literally from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it says he shared a special bond with Ahsoka Tano, whom he'd brought to the Jedi Order as a toddler.
Hell yeah.
So I think it is canon. Yeah.
I think so, too. What I'm not sure about is after she showed Force sensitivity, Zygerian slavers came and said, "Hey, we're Jedis. We're going to take your kid."
What? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And so they were somehow Plo Koon, like, she escaped, like, she ran away and was hiding from them after she realized the truth. And she sent out, like, a force call, kind of how Grogu does in The Mandalorian. And Plo Koon was the one that answers.
Really?
Yeah, and there's this moment where Ahsoka, let's just be real. Plo Koon's him, but he's also a little creepy looking.
I mean, the mask and tentacles? That's not handsome to you?
Listen, not personally, but if that's what you're into, Tuck, you know what? Who am I to judge?
Nicole's actually a Keldor, just like a face mask. It's like Scooby-Doo. She just like pulls her face off and it's a Keldor.
No, what I'm imagining is like you coming home from a long day of work and she has like one of those really bad quality like Party City Plo Koon masks on.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. This is going too far. Oh, this is funny. No, it's okay. It's actually really funny. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, but so Ahsoka she reaches out with the Force and like she just senses the goodness in Plo Koon and decides to trust him, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, our boy. And also, I mean, just looking at him, just something tells me too, he probably smells wonderful also. He probably gives the best hugs.
This man showers for sure, sure.
Absolutely. That's canon. That's canon for sure.
No, I don't know. I just, like, so we've established that he was the one that found Ahsoka, and, like, I really loved in the Clone Wars getting to see that, that relationship, because they don't interact very often, but when they do, it's very clear that he cares for her deeply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also like vice versa too. Even same thing. Like just when she talks, I mean, she reveres him. You can tell.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think he was a little sad that he didn't get to be her master?
I think so. Honestly, I think he would.
I do too.
And also, I think he would have been such a good master to her. I mean, I
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I think she would have probably died too on Kato Nemoidia. Like, I don't think she would have made it either.
Oh, yeah.
Because also, I mean, aside from Anakin, like, Plo Koon was recognized as one of the best pilots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, he didn't make it. R.I.P.
Rip.
Yep.
So what about you? Let's talk like Clone Wars and the prequel trilogy, where we actually like to get to really see him in action. What are some of your favorite Plo Koon moments?
Really, they're pretty much all Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, that episode with Wolf Squadron, that's actually probably my favorite Plo Koon moment. Actually,
Yeah.
is him talking, and then also like moments with him and Ahsoka, because really, in the movies or in Clone Wars, you really don't get much of him.
Right. Right.
He really, like, I don't even think he has an episode to himself. I actually, in Clone Wars, do we even see him fight?
Yes, I think we do. I will look that up.
I know in Attack of the Clones he's in the background in some of them, but it's also too, I mean, it was, 2002 or something, and
Right.
he also looks kind of funky. He and his boy Kit Fisto look kind of weird.
So bad live action.
Yeah, Plo Koon's not far behind. I mean, I will say, actually, he looks dramatically better in Episode 3, I think.
Yeah, I
CGI
agree.
did that man some favors. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it looks like he's in quite a few, he's in 47 episodes.
Oh,
which
wow,
I think
really?
is a little more than a third. I think there's 120 something.
Yeah. But do we see him fight?
Yeah, so let's see. I'm reading on some of his episodes. We definitely see him in some space battles. Like you were saying, he's a great pilot. There's an episode here, Nomad Droids. Plo Koon and the Wolf Pack were sent to rescue Master Adi Gallia? I don't recognize that name. Do you?
Not really.
Anyway, they're sent to rescue her from General Grievous's ship. So he might fight General Grievous there. I can't remember.
But I think that's the space episode. Because they get blown up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think pretty much all we see is just little snippets of him. Like, I think for Plo Koon, you really only see him like 5 minutes at a time.
Right. He's never in there too much.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a shame. I wish he was.
I'm sorry. I scrolled too far down. I got to the 2D miniseries. Plo Koon
is he in there?
He is. And
Is he really?
He does not look good.
Let me see. Oh, jeez. Man, he looks a little bit like a certain type of sack.
Yeah, his head's all bumpy and discolored. Like it's two different colors. And there's no rhyme or reason why one color's where it is and the other's where it is.
Yeah.
And it's a lot bigger than it is normally.
Yeah, it's all bulbous and weird. Yeah. It reminds me of like an old trope of like a mad scientist or something, and like his brain showing, like out of his head. It's kind of what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
And it's just silly looking. Just straight silly looking.
Oh shoot. This is an important moment. He's the one that finds Sifo Dyas's lightsaber.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, he is everywhere.
He's everywhere.
I
think he plays minor roles in these episodes, but very important ones. Like in this episode, like that whole arc would not have started without Plo Koon.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because he found it and also knew whose it was. And also, I didn't really think about this, but he probably knew Sifo Dyas not only well just because he was a Jedi,
right?
But they were also, wasn't Sifo Dyas, for instance, on the council?
I think so. Yeah.
And,
yes.
I think he would have known him well, probably.
If I remember correctly, Sifo Dyas was dead set that a war was coming. And he was very like, we need to build an army. And the council said, nah, homie, you're crazy, and kicked him out.
Yep. Well, and I imagine, too, Plo Koon was probably one of the lead guys on, like, no, dude. No, we don't need an army.
We don't need an army. Right.
We need to love these people instead.
Yeah.
And,
we need to find a peaceful solution. And I'll see how that turned out.
Yep.
I want to talk about his relationship with the clones.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Besides Anakin and Ahsoka, name another group of clones and Jedi that's closer.
Yeah, Obi-Wan... his clones, I don't think they are as close to Obi-Wan as...
Yeah, I think Cody...
first.
Cody, maybe, personally, but as a whole, like, Legion, I don't know. But I feel like Plo Koon's the type of guy that, like, after a mission, he's going by, he's knocking on each of their doors and asking how they're doing emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and not just Wolf either. Like, he's talking to every single one.
Yeah, if he's got free time, he's checking on his boys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then also, too, like, I really think if one of them did need something, he'd take care of it, too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like it's like, hey, Commander Plo, like my shoes broke last mission or whatever. Like I think Plo Koon would like take personal time to get that man some new shoes. Like
For
I think
sure.
like that's just cool. It's the kind of guy he is.
He's like the opposite of what is it, Prong Krell?
Yeah.
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 Like it's I bring up this comparison because they both have very strong feelings about the clones. One sees them as actual people and that they matter and that they're important, and one sees them as expendable and that they don't matter. And I don't know.
They aren't even human.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's nice seeing that, like, there is such a difference within the Jedi Order. Like, they don't all think the same.
Yeah.
Even though Prong Krell is awful and we hate him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then also, too, you even have, like, people who are, I'd say, more like the middle ground. Where, like, yeah, they kind of care about their troopers, but it's like, like, for instance, I would say, like, Mace Windu is probably that
Literally
way.
who I was thinking.
Where it's like...
thinking the same man.
It's like, yeah, they're human, but, like, they're not Jedi.
Like,
I think that's kind of how he thinks.
I think he cares about them, but at the same time, it's like, they were made to fight and die, so let them fight and die, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he just doesn't really care that much.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't really, to tell you the truth, I don't really think he cares that much about anything other than Mace.
Right.
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I do think he cares deeply for the Jedi Council, but... Or just the Jedi in general. But aside from that...
I think so too, yeah.
Meh.
Yeah.
As long as we're okay.
Also, I think he'd save his own skin before theirs, though. Especially if it was one that he didn't really like.
Ah, yes. If he could save himself or Anakin.
Yeah, I think he'd take himself every time. Like, I don't even think he'd really think about it. I think he'd be like, whatever. You know
what's crazy? I'm sorry to get us on a tangent. We're not supposed to be talking about Mace today, and I will bring this up when we circle back to Mace's episode. Mm-hmm. The fact that Jar Jar Binks earned his respect in 2 episodes of the Clone Wars. And Anakin never gained it.
I know. Honestly, though, I think it's just that Mace is jealous.
I do, too.
I think it's just Mace Windu saw himself as the chosen one, and then just learning that he's not, and this kid is, really pissed him off. Yeah.
Honestly, I might piss me off too. If I really thought I was the chosen one, and then everyone was like, "Nah, it's this guy." I think I might be a little butthurt.
It's this 9-year-old kid. It's not you, silly goose.
Oh, thought I had one more point on Jar Jar Binks. Oh yeah, no, just the fact that he 100% would save Jar Jar Binks if Anakin and Jar Jar were both hanging off the edge of a cliff. The one person in the whole galaxy that would pick Jar Jar Binks over Anakin.
And that's what's wrong with him. Oh.
Well, should we talk about Plo Koon's death, or do you have anything else you want to bring up about our boy?
I can't say that I have just a bunch. I mean, yeah, because like in our favorite Jedi episode, we covered Force Judgment.
Right.
We covered, how much he cares about everything, everyone, animals, plants, whatever. He sees the entire galaxy as one living force, and that's really how he acts and what he believes, and that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we talked about, just now we've talked about his combat skills, as well as his negotiating skills. I mean, yeah, I think we're kind of ready to talk about his death now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
This one hurts. This one really hurts. Like, Kiadi Mundi, he deserved it.
Oh, I hate Kiadi Mundi. Like,
when he gets shot, I'm okay with
I feel
right?
nothing when that guy dies. Yeah.
But man, when Plo Koon goes, that I tear up every time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, like, that's another great thing about Clone Wars. Like, not only does it help you see more of who Anakin is and get more respect for Anakin other than the movies, and like how some people would see him as just an immature child and he's not a good character and blah blah blah. Like, Clone Wars really shows you a different side of him.
Yeah.
I think. And Plo Koon and Clone Wars, same thing. He's not just a background character. Like, he actually did things. He actually was a person. It's cool. That's what I like about Clone Wars. And it also made his death hurt more. Watch Clone Wars and then watch his death.
Yeah.
You'll feel like me and Elijah do.
By the same, my sad headcanon is it's the same two clones that he said, "You're not expendable to me too," are the ones that shoot him down.
No.
That's my sad headcanon.
No, and then it just haunts him forever.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure, like, I really wish we could have saw more clones without their masks in this moment, because it's like, we see Rex in the last episode of the Clone War, or the last arc of the Clone Wars. I think it's second to last episode. Mm-hmm. He's crying as he's holding his gun out to Ahsoka. Like, he doesn't want to do this, but he has to.
Yeah, because I think the inhibitor chip, it doesn't necessarily take their feelings away.
Right.
I think it just instills in them that one order that they must complete.
Yeah.
Or they will die.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much their choices.
I feel like the clones are still there, but they lose motor control.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. Like, kind of like their body becomes a robot.
Yeah. Do you think that lasts, like, for the rest of their life, or do you think that just lasts for a little bit when they see a Jedi and they know what they have to do?
I think it's just a temporary thing, specifically because of Bad Batch. We start to see a bunch of clones leaving.
Yeah, including like Cody, for instance,
right.
Who, as far as we know, never had his inhibitor chip removed. I don't think.
Right.
And
so,
he willingly left. So.
Yes. The reason I bring this all up is I would love to see the Wolfpack's reaction. Because I'm sure it's just as strong as Rex's. Those two pilots 100% were crying under their masks.
Yeah, I think so too. And then also, as morbid and kind of sad as this, I I would almost kind of want to see a scene where we watch them kill him from their perspective, and then it follows them throughout the mission, and then like at the end of the day, and it closes like with them at their barracks.
Yeah.
And they're forced to either talk about it or swallow it.
Oh.
And you watch it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
That one hurts.
Yeah. And just like, because they, as far as what we talked about, as far as like, because I really do think they do feel feelings even with the inhibitor chip.
I completely agree. Yeah.
I'm sure that haunted them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
Oh, man. And what I'm imagining is there probably was this conversation of like the two that actually shot him down feeling the most guilty, and the rest of them trying to like say, we would have done the same thing if we were in the scenario. Right, yep, right. But then, like, not that we're happy about it, but, don't blame yourself. We would have done the same thing. And then saying something along the lines of, but we pulled the trigger.
Yeah. And just seeing like a whole, I don't know, I'd watch like a whole 30-minute episode on that.
Yeah. Of
just those guys and like what happens to them and stuff like that.
I completely agree. Something else I'd love to know is like some of them like some of them were in active battle, like Ki-Adi-Mundi's group. Like, did they just kill Ki-Adi and then keep fighting?
I would assume so, because also we know from Bad Batch and other things, they hated the CIS.
Right.
Hated them.
Yeah.
And so I think, honestly, until Anakin kills the CIS higher-ups during Order 66 and the droids actually shut off, which I assume is probably in a couple days after that.
Yeah.
I would imagine for several days the clones just keep fighting.
Kept fighting. Oh, man. Imagine.
And kept dying.
Like, not even Ki-Adi-Mundi's group, because he sucks and they were probably smiling under their masks. But every other group of clones, like, imagine shooting down your commanding officer and then, like, not even having time to emotionally process that. Just, like, having to keep fighting, like, stepping over their body to keep pushing forward against the droids.
Yeah, and then also that's one thing I really like about Bad Batch, in that, like, all the scenes with the Pantoran senator, what's her name?
Oh, yes, the blue one.
Yeah, that she's trying so hard to get them retirement and get them stuff so they're set up for life because they're so emotionally scarred. Because also, like, imagine how Plo Koon's guys, for instance, felt.
Yeah.
They had to kill him, and then they probably continued fighting, and then the next day had to bury more of their brothers. And then a couple days later, the droids shut off.
And it was all over.
Imagine how worthless that would feel.
Yeah.
I think that'd just be horrible.
I completely agree. That sucks.
Yeah.
So I think Plo Koon had to die in the ship. I think
I think so too.
I think he would have lived. I think he would have either fought his way out or did some sort of, Ahsoka knocks them out, removed the inhibitor chip of a couple of his guys. Kind of a scenario.
And I think he would, and I think he would do it, kind of tactically, where he would wait until there's only a couple of them, and then surprise them, knock them out, get a couple of them, and then just jet.
Yeah.
I think he'd do something like that, yeah.
I do think the one area that might have gotten him killed, if this was a hypothetical land battle, I think he would have, again, done the exact same thing that Ahsoka did, where when he was deflecting blaster shots, unless he absolutely had to, he'd deflect them away from the clone so it wouldn't kill them.
Yeah, I think he would too.
Like, he would try and keep as many of them alive as possible. And I think there's a chance that might have gotten him killed. Because with Ahsoka, it worked out because she had Rex there, and also Maul was causing a bunch of chaos on the ship.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there were other things that kept Ahsoka alive. I'm not sure if Plo Koon could have made it, though.
Yeah, I do think, actually, on that note, though, that quote that I had said... Oh, here we go. a Jedi does not cling to sorrow. We accept it. Sorrow is a part of life as well as joy. These are gifts to be found. Even in death and sorrow, strange gifts. We accept this, we learn, and we go on. I think, honestly, that he would have killed clones if he had to be honest with you. I think he could. I think it would hurt. I think it would really hurt him.
Yeah.
I think, like them, he'd be crying under his mask, but I think he could do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Dang it.
And I think he could more than Ahsoka could.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, like, Ahsoka, I think, is roughly, like, early Jedi Knight skills at this point. Plo Koon's a master. Like, there still is a big power difference between the two.
Yeah, and then also he's a powerful master. Like, he's powerful for a master. He's not even just like a basic one.
Yeah, he is up there.
Yeah, so I think actually but even still, I mean, it's no secret at all that enough clones can kill a Jedi. If he were to get surrounded, there's just nothing more he could do after that.
Right.
So really, I think a lot of it would come down to how he was able to sneak around.
Yeah. And
if he could, Ahsoka and Rexit and get a couple of them on his side to help him escape. I think maybe that'd probably be the only way. Just because it'd be overwhelming odds. It'd be way too many of them, I think.
Yeah. Man, he's one Jedi I wish would have lived. Like, we talk about the problems of the Jedi, but, like, he is one of the Jedi that I think just, like, perfectly represent what a Jedi should be.
Yeah. And also, I would have loved if Plo Koon did survive, he is one where I think maybe some events at the temple would have been a little different, but I do think Anakin probably would have killed him. I mean, I just don't. I think, again, he probably would have gotten overwhelmed with... Yeah. They would have targeted him and taken him out.
Right, because, I mean, we know the 501st were given a list of high-priority Jedi. Like, we need to kill them as fast as possible.
Yeah, and I think he, Shaak Ti, Luminara Unduli, like, those would all have been top, like, on that list, for sure.
Because I do think there is a hypothetical scenario where if there were a couple more masters within the temple and they could have organized, things would have turned out a lot differently. The temple wouldn't have fallen.
No, I think if they would have been able to organize, I think that's the big part of it. I think really that's the only reason that Anakin was able to take over is because the 501st just blitzkrieged. Like, just no one saw him coming. They just came out of nowhere.
Which goes perfectly into Palpatine's plan. Like, there were a lot of ways that could have failed, but he worked everything out so that as many masters were spread throughout the galaxy as possible. I mean, he killed 3. I don't know. Are we giving Mace's death to Palpatine or Anakin?
Or to Anakin? I mean, I'd say it's Palpatine's... Like, Palpatine got Mace killed.
Yeah, good point.
The murder, I would say, is Palpatine's.
Yeah.
But Anakin's obviously an accessory.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was, a couple masters, maybe? I mean, I think Shaak Ti might have been there. We're still a little fuzzy on her death.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody knows if she was still on Kamino or if General Grievous killed her or if she was in the... we don't know.
Right, or did she escape to Felucia? I mean, there's so many different things. But anyway, Palpatine, master plan, especially not having Plo Koon there. And having him die, I mean, I don't think Palpatine necessarily planned this, but I think it worked out perfectly for him, was having Plo Koon in his ship. Let's talk about those last moments. Because he probably was just confused. Like, why are you guys leaving formation? And then it was over.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was really fast.
Yeah.
But then also a guy like Plo Koon, I just don't think he's one that would have been afraid in that
Yeah.
moment. I think he just would have been okay with it. Just like, well,
This is when the Force has decided I'm going.
yep. Yeah, I think that's who. And then also of course I'm a big Plo Koon fan, but one thing I like is that like we never see him as an individual Force ghost. And he seems like the kind that honestly I don't think he would have wanted to be.
I don't think so. I think he's vibing with the cosmic force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just being like just part of the living force and not an individual. I think that's what he wanted.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, do you have any last thoughts on our boy Plo Koon?
Yeah, so actually back to the temple thing real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So what I was going to say originally before we went down the rabbit hole of what would happen.
Yes, sorry.
Another thing that I would have loved to have happened is like Plo Koon somehow escape Cato Nemoidia, and I think it would have been really cool for him to end up either in one of the Jedi systems after Order 66, like how they there's little pockets of them, they survive together and like they'll travel through each other, like stuff like that, not through each other, but like through the different tunnel systems and whatnot.
Yeah.
And honestly, I really think that in a perfect scenario where Cal finds Tantalor and decides to start a Jedi Academy there and never destroyed the holocron with all the Force-sensitive kids, I think Plo Koon would have been the perfect candidate to be Grand Master.
I completely agree. That's what I've been thinking this whole time we've been talking about it, is like, I would have loved to see Plo Koon restart the Jedi Order.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also imagine a Jedi Order with, well, especially Plo Koon and Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And then also later add Luke Skywalker. And, I mean, like, what? Those would be the best Jedi ever. I mean, they'd be unstoppable.
And then we got Cal and Ezra, for sure. That one guy from Obi-Wan that tracks him down and is like, hey, we should restart the Jedi Order, and then gets hung.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Another one, Quinlan Voss.
Yeah,
he would have been part of it, or he would have lived long enough. I don't know if he actually would have stayed. They probably would have kept him out there as a spy.
Yeah.
But he still would have helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
All right, my friend. Anything else on Plo Koon?
Other than he's straight up the best Jedi ever, and if you don't like him, you're an idiot. I mean, that's pretty much all I gotta say.
Yeah, your Star Wars is your Star Wars, unless you don't like Plo Koon.
But that's pretty much all I gotta say, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. That email's linked in. You can copy it from the description if you need. If you guys leave us any reviews, or if you can leave a review wherever you're listening, we read through all of those. If you're listening to Spotify, there'll be a question of the week you can answer. Just let us know. We, like I said, we really want you to be a part of this conversation. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. For the Animal Squadron, this has been Mother Goose
and Lowtech. Adios.
Goodbye, everybody.